The emergency alarm screamed through the small research outpost. Red lights flashed, casting harsh shadows on the metallic walls. Hannah Park sat in the corner, her perfectly sculpted features twisted with anger and fear. Her silver jumpsuit, once a symbol of galactic fashion, was now torn and dirty. 2 days ago, she had been the most famous supermodel on Lumina. Millions followed her life through holographic feeds. She traveled between star systems in luxury ships that cost more than entire planetary budgets. Now she was trapped on a nameless moon with only one other survivor. Jae Kim moved carefully around the damaged communication center. He was nothing like the glamorous models Hannah was used to. His body was lean but strong, with hands that looked more suited to tools than to waving at cameras. While Hannah watched, he worked to repair the outpost's damaged systems. "We're not going to die here," Jae muttered, more to himself than to Hannah. His fingers moved quickly over the damaged control panels, connecting wires and checking damaged circuits. Hannah rolled her eyes. "Easy for you to say. You're a human. Humans are supposed to be good at surviving in terrible conditions." Her voice dripped with a mixture of frustration and something that might have been a tiny hint of hope. The spacecraft crash had been sudden and violent. Their research vessel had been hit by a massive meteor shower while traveling through an uncharted sector. Most of the crew had died instantly. Only Hannah and Jae had survived, thanks to the emergency escape pod that had automatically ejected during the initial impact. Jae ignored her sarcastic comment and continued working. The outpost was old, probably abandoned decades ago by some forgotten research team. It was small but had basic life support systems. Oxygen recyclers hummed softly. Emergency food supplies were limited but present. "The communication systems are mostly dead," Jae said finally, turning to look at Hannah. "But I might be able to send a short-range distress signal. If any ships are within 100,000 kilometers, they might pick it up." Hannah stood up, her height making her tower over Jae. On Lumina, she was considered average height. Here, among humans, she was a giant. "And how long will that take?" she asked. Jae shrugged. "Could be hours. Could be days. We're in a pretty remote location." He pulled out a small repair kit and started working on a damaged communication array. Outside the outpost's thick windows, the moon's landscape was harsh and alien. Rocky terrain stretched in every direction, colored in shades of gray and deep purple. 2 distant moons hung in the sky, creating strange shadows across the barren ground. Hannah walked to the window, her reflection showing a face that had graced thousands of magazines across multiple star systems. She was used to being admired, photographed, celebrated. Now she was just trying to survive. "I'm hungry," she announced suddenly. Jae didn't look up from his work. "There are emergency ration packs in the storage unit. They're not glamorous, but they'll keep us alive." As if to prove his point, Hannah's stomach growled loudly. She blushed, grateful that no cameras were around to capture this moment of vulnerability. Little did they know that this crash, this moment of survival, would change everything. Not just for them, but for the entire galaxy. The first week passed slowly. Hannah and Jae learned to live together in the small outpost, each day a test of survival and patience. The emergency food supplies were simple, nutrient bars that tasted like cardboard and water recycled through ancient filters. Hannah complained constantly, but Jae knew complaining wouldn't change their situation. On the 8th day, everything changed. Hannah was examining a strange rash that had appeared on her arm. It looked different from anything she had seen before, purple spots that seemed to move slightly when she wasn't looking directly at them. "This is not normal," she muttered to herself. Jae noticed her concern and walked over. His eyes were different from Luminant eyes, more focused, more curious. "Let me see," he said, reaching for her arm. At first, Hannah pulled back. On Lumina, physical contact between strangers was considered deeply inappropriate, but they were no longer on Lumina. They were stuck on a nameless moon with only each other. "It doesn't hurt," she said hesitantly. "But it's weird." Jae's fingers were gentle but professional as he examined the rash. He pulled out a small medical scanner, a device that looked almost primitive compared to the advanced medical technology of Lumina. The scanner beeped and whirred, producing a holographic image of her arm's cellular structure. "Interesting," Jay mumbled. "Interesting." Hannah's voice rose. "That's all you can say. I have moving purple spots on my skin, and all you can say is interesting." Jay smiled, a small, quick smile that transformed his serious face. "These aren't just spots. They look like the beginning of a cellular adaptation response." Hannah stared at him. "Speak in basic words, please." "Your body is changing," Jay explained. "It looks like it's trying to adapt to something in the environment. Maybe something from our crash landing, or from this moon." The rash didn't hurt, but it continued to spread. Thin purple lines now traced delicate patterns across Hannah's skin. She should have been scared, but something about Jay's calm approach kept her steady. Over the next few days, Jay ran more tests. He used the outpost's limited research equipment to study her changing biology. Hannah found herself fascinated by his work. She had always seen scientists as boring people who worked in the background. But Jay was different. "Your genetic structure is incredible," Jay said one evening. He had spread out several holographic displays showing complex genetic maps. Most species would have a negative reaction to this kind of cellular change. But your body is adjusting. Hannah leaned closer. The purple marks had now covered most of her left arm, creating beautiful, intricate patterns. "Is this dangerous?" she asked. Jay shook his head. "Not dangerous. Adaptive. Your body is learning something new." They worked together, two survivors trying to understand a mystery. Hannah's modeling career had been about looking perfect. Now she was becoming something entirely different. Her perfect skin was changing, telling a story more complex than any magazine cover. On the 10th day, something even more surprising happened. The rash began to fade, leaving behind skin that looked healthier and stronger than before. Jay's initial tests showed increased cellular resilience, improved immune response, and something he called extraordinary genetic plasticity. "What does that mean?" Hannah asked. Jay's eyes sparkled with scientific excitement. "It means your body can adapt in ways we've never seen before. Humans might be able to help with this. Our genetic structure is unique." Neither of them knew it then, but this moment was the first step toward something that would change the entire galaxy. A small discovery on a forgotten moon would soon become the most important scientific breakthrough in generations. The universe was listening, even if they didn't know it yet. The small research outpost felt different now. What was once a place of survival had become something like a secret laboratory. Jai had cleared one corner of the communication room, setting up makeshift research equipment from the outpost's emergency supplies. Hannah watched as he worked. Her skin no longer showed the strange purple marks, but something had definitely changed. She felt stronger, faster. Her senses seemed sharper than before the crash. "We need more data," Jay muttered, connecting strange devices together. This could be the most important scientific discovery in generations. Hannah rolled her eyes. "I'm not a lab rat," she said, but she didn't move away. Her curiosity was growing almost as fast as her strange new abilities. Jai had collected samples of her blood, skin cells, and even hair. Each test revealed something new and unexpected. Her cellular structure was changing in ways that defied everything known about Luminan biology. "Look at this," Jay said one morning, pointing to a holographic display. Complex genetic maps swirled in blue and green colors. "Your DNA is doing something impossible." Hannah leaned closer. To her, it looked like a bunch of complicated lines and shapes. "Explain it to me like I'm a child," she demanded. Jay smiled. "Normally, when different species encounter each other, their genetic materials fight, like two armies that can't communicate. But your cells, they're learning, adapting. It's like they're having a conversation instead of a fight." The implications were huge. Most alien species had strict genetic barriers. Reproduction between different species was almost impossible. But here, in this tiny outpost on a forgotten moon, something incredible was happening. As days passed, Jay's excitement grew. He took more samples, ran more tests. Hannah found herself enjoying the research, despite her initial resistance. She had always been more than just a pretty face, though few had ever bothered to look deeper. "Your immune system is incredible," Jay explained one evening. "It's not just fighting off potential threats. It's learning from them, changing, becoming stronger." Hannah flexed her arm. "I feel different," she admitted. "Stronger, like I could run for days without getting tired." Their research continued in secret. Neither of them knew how important their discoveries might be. They were two survivors, trapped together, uncovering something that could change everything humans and Luminans knew about biology. On the 15th day, something unexpected happened. Jay was taking another blood sample when he suddenly stopped. His scanner showed something he had never seen before. Hannah's blood cells were changing again, but this time in a way that suggested something impossible. "This doesn't make sense," he mumbled. Hannah sat up. "What's wrong?" Jay looked up, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Your genetic structure, it's showing signs of compatibility. Not just adaptation, but potential reproduction." The word hung in the air between them. Reproduction between different species was supposed to be impossible. Yet here they were, finding evidence of something entirely new. Outside, the moon's harsh landscape remained unchanged. But inside the small outpost, everything had just shifted. They had discovered something that could change the entire understanding of life in the galaxy. Hannah and Jay looked at each other. Something was happening. Something big. And they were the only ones who knew about it. Tension filled the small outpost. Hannah and Jay moved around each other carefully, aware that something fundamental had changed between them. The scientific discovery they had made was more than just interesting. It was life-changing. Weeks of close contact had transformed their relationship. Hannah was no longer the dismissive supermodel. Jay was no longer just the quiet scientist. They had become something else. Partners in a discovery that could change everything. One evening, the outpost's heating system began to fail. The temperature dropped quickly, turning their small living space into an ice-cold chamber. Survival instinct kicked in. "We need to stay warm," Jay said practically. His voice was calm, but Hannah could see a hint of nervousness in his eyes. They huddled together, sharing the few blankets they had. Hannah's body felt different now. The changes from her earlier cellular adaptation made her feel warmer, stronger. She could feel Jay's body heat, but something else was happening too. Their proximity brought a new kind of tension. Scientific curiosity mixed with something more complex. Hannah had been admired by millions across the galaxy, but no one had ever looked at her the way Jay did, with genuine interest that went beyond her appearance. "Tell me about your work," she said softly. It was a question she would never have asked before their crash landing. Jay began to talk about his research. He spoke about human genetics, about the potential hidden in human DNA. His passion was clear. Hannah found herself captivated, not by his looks, but by his mind. As the night grew colder, something shifted between them. The line between scientific partnership and something more began to blur. Their first kiss was unexpected, not romantic, not planned, just a moment of connection that surprised them both. Hannah pulled back first. "This is impossible," she whispered. Jay smiled. "Nothing is impossible," he replied. The next few hours were a blur of passion and discovery. Their bodies seemed to understand each other in ways their minds were still trying to comprehend. The cellular changes Hannah had experienced were more than just adaptation. They were preparation. When morning came, everything had changed. Jay ran tests immediately. His scientific mind needed to understand what had happened. Hannah watched him, feeling different. Something was changing inside her. Something big. "The genetic compatibility," Jay muttered, checking his scanners. "It's more than we thought." Hannah placed a hand on her stomach. She didn't need a scanner to know something was different. She could feel it. "How is this possible?" she asked. Judd looked up, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "We're looking at something completely new, something that could change everything we know about reproduction between species." Outside, the moon remained silent. The harsh landscape showed no sign of the incredible discovery happening inside the small outpost. Two beings from different worlds had just created something impossible. A new life was beginning. Hannah laughed suddenly. The sound echoed through the small space. It was a laugh of disbelief, of wonder, of something entirely new. "You got me pregnant," she said. The words hung in the air, a statement that would soon change the entire galaxy. The first message broke through their isolation 3 weeks after Hannah discovered her pregnancy. A holographic communication flickered to life in the damaged outpost, filling the small space with harsh blue light. "Hannah Park," a deep voice announced, "you are requested to provide immediate explanation." It was the Luminan High Council. Their official representative looked angry, his skin shifting colors in waves of red and gray, a clear sign of extreme emotional distress among Luminans. Jay stood quietly in the background. Hannah stepped forward, her hand unconsciously protecting her stomach. The changes in her body were already becoming visible. Her skin had a strange glow. Her movements were different, more fluid, more powerful. "I am pregnant," Hannah said simply. No explanation, no apology. The council member's image flickered with rage. "Impossible," he spat. "Reproduction between Luminans and humans is scientifically impossible. You are contaminating our genetic legacy." News traveled fast in the galactic communication networks. Within hours, the story spread across thousands of star systems. A Luminan supermodel, pregnant, by a human. It was the kind of scandal that would break all communication channels. Social media feeds exploded. Holographic news boards showed Hannah's picture everywhere. Some called her a traitor. Others called her a scientific pioneer. Millions of messages flooded every communication channel. On Lumina, protests began. Conservative groups demanded Hannah be removed from the planet's genetic registry. Scientific groups demanded more information about the pregnancy. Jay watched the chaos with a calm scientific mind. "They don't understand," he told Hannah quietly. "This is more than a scandal. This is a scientific breakthrough." The outpost's limited communication systems struggled to handle the incoming messages. Scientists from multiple species wanted samples. Medical researchers wanted to study Hannah. Political leaders wanted explanations. "We need to document everything," Jay said, setting up additional recording systems. Every change, every development. Hannah's body was changing faster than anyone could predict. Her metabolism worked differently now. She needed less food. She healed faster. Her senses had become incredibly sharp. The Luminan government sent a research ship. They wanted to collect Hannah and bring her back for immediate study. But Jay had other plans. "They'll treat her like a lab specimen," he told Hannah. "We need to control our own research." Their communication with the outside world was limited. The damaged outpost was their only protection. But they had each other. And they had something else, a discovery that would change everything. More messages came. Threats, offers, demands. A message from the Human Scientific Council arrived. They were more excited than angry. This could change everything we know about interspecies reproduction. Their lead researcher wrote. Hannah looked at Ja. "What happens now?" she asked. Jay smiled. "Now," he said, "we make history." Outside, the moon remained silent. But inside the small outpost, a revolution was beginning. A revolution that would reshape how different species understood life, reproduction, and potential. The galaxy was watching. And nothing would ever be the same again. The medical team arrived 2 months after the initial communication. They came in a sleek ship that landed carefully near the old research outpost. 3 doctors from different species stepped out. A tall blue-skinned Zarian, a compact robotic medical expert from the Quantum Collective, and a human genetic researcher. Hannah watched them approach. Her body had changed more than anyone could have imagined. She no longer looked like the supermodel she once was. Now she looked stronger, different, powerful. "We need to run tests," the human doctor said. Her name was Dr. Emily Chen, and she looked both excited and nervous. Jay stood protectively close to Hannah. "No invasive procedures," he warned. The medical team set up their equipment inside the outpost. Advanced scanners created holographic images of Hannah's body. What they saw made them speechless. "This is impossible," the Zarian doctor muttered. Hannah's pregnancy was unlike anything they had ever seen. Her body had adapted in ways that broke all known biological rules. The fetus was growing at an incredible rate, but it wasn't dangerous. Instead, it seemed perfectly healthy. Dr. Chen explained what they discovered. Her cellular structure is changing to support the pregnancy. It's like her body is creating a perfect environment for this child. The human genetic material is working like an advanced biological blueprint. The robotic doctor added more information. Its voice was calm and mechanical. Genetic compatibility is at 98.7%. Adaptation rate is unprecedented. The fetus shows remarkable resilience. Joe looked at the holographic displays. Complex genetic maps showed something extraordinary. The child was developing with the best characteristics of both species, lumen adaptability combined with human genetic potential. "We've never seen anything like this," Dr. Chen said. She looked at Hannah with a mixture of scientific curiosity and something like respect. Hannah felt different. Her body was no longer just her own. She was creating something new, something that could change everything people knew about reproduction between species. The medical team took samples. They ran more tests. Each test revealed something more incredible than the last. "The child's genetic structure," the Zarian doctor said, "it's like a perfect mix. Not just a combination, but something entirely new." Hannah's pregnancy became the most studied biological event in recent galactic history. Scientists from hundreds of different species wanted to understand what was happening. The outpost became a secret research center. Jai worked alongside the medical team, documenting every change. Hannah was no longer just a patient. She was a pioneer. Her body could heal faster now. She needed less sleep. Her senses were sharper than ever before. The pregnancy was transforming her in ways no one could have predicted. "This child," Jay said one evening, looking at the latest scan, "could change everything we know about life." Hannah touched her stomach. She could feel the life growing inside her. It wasn't just a pregnancy. It was a biological miracle. The galaxy watched and waited. Something big was happening, and it all started with 2 survivors on a forgotten moon. The outpost became a fortress. Security systems were upgraded. Communication channels were carefully controlled. Hannah and Jad were no longer just survivors. They were now the center of the biggest scientific discovery in galactic history. Political pressure grew every day. The Luminan government wanted Hannah returned to their home planet. They claimed it was for medical observation, but everyone knew it was about control. "They want to study you like a lab animal," Jay said one morning. His voice was hard. Hannah looked out the window. The moon's landscape had become familiar to her. "They won't take me," she replied simply. News feeds continued to spread wild stories. Some called Hannah a traitor. Others called her a hero. Social media platforms across different star systems buzzed with discussions about her pregnancy. The Human Scientific Council offered protection. They wanted to study the pregnancy, but they also wanted to keep Hannah and Jess safe. A special research team was assigned to their case. Dr. Emily Chen became their primary contact. She understood the delicate nature of their situation. "We'll protect you," she told them during a secure communication. "But we need to continue research." Hannah's body continued to change. Her strength increased. Her senses became sharper. The medical team was amazed by her adaptation. Every day brought new discoveries. The child inside her was growing faster than any normal pregnancy. But it wasn't dangerous. Instead, it seemed perfectly healthy. The medical scans showed a being that combined the best of two different species. Political attacks came from multiple directions. The Luminant High Council tried different methods to force Hannah's return. They used legal threats. They used diplomatic pressure. They tried everything. Jay worked to protect them. He used his scientific connections. He reached out to researchers who understood the importance of their discovery. They created a network of support. "This is bigger than politics," Jay told Hannah. "This is about understanding life itself." The outpost became a symbol of hope for some, a threat for others. Scientists from different species secretly supported their research. They saw the potential of what Hannah and Jay had discovered. Hannah's family tried to contact her. Some were angry. Some were scared. But she remained strong. She understood now that she was part of something much bigger than herself. The pregnancy continued to surprise everyone. Medical scans showed impossible developments. The child was developing abilities that crossed species boundaries. It was learning, growing, adapting. "We're creating something new," Hannah said one evening. She looked different now. No longer just a supermodel. Now a pioneer, a mother of something unprecedented. Jay worked constantly, documenting, researching, protecting. Their small outpost had become the most important research center in the galaxy. Political leaders argued, scientists debated, but Hannah and Jay remained focused. A new life was coming, a life that could change everything people knew about species, reproduction, and potential. The galaxy watched and waited. Something big was happening, and it all centered on two people in a small outpost on a forgotten moon. The research facility arrived 3 months after Hannah's initial discovery. It was a massive structure that seemed to grow from the moon's surface like a metal flower. Scientists from 50 different species worked inside, all focused on one thing: understanding the impossible pregnancy. Hannah walked through the facility's halls. She no longer looked like the supermodel she once was. Now she looked powerful, strong, different. "We're rewriting everything," Dr. Emily Chen told her one morning. The human scientist's eyes were bright with excitement. "Everything we know about biology, about reproduction, about potential, it's all changing." The facility was a world of its own. Holographic displays showed genetic maps that twisted and turned like living art. Researchers from different species worked together, something that had rarely happened before. Humans, once seen as a young and primitive species, were now viewed differently. Their genetic potential was no longer a question. It was a proven fact. "Your child," a Zarian researcher told Hannah, "is proof that humans are more than we thought." Political leaders watched carefully. Some were scared. Some were excited. But everyone understood something big was happening. The research showed incredible things. Human genetic material had abilities no one had seen before. It could adapt, learn, grow. The pregnancy was more than just a biological event. It was a scientific revolution. Jay worked at the center of everything. His quiet determination impressed even the most skeptical researchers. He documented every change, every discovery. He protected Hannah and their unborn child. Media channels across the galaxy reported constantly. "Human luminant pregnancy changes everything." The headlines read. Millions watched. Millions wondered. The Luminant High Council tried to stop the research. They sent legal teams. They tried diplomatic pressure. But the scientific community stood together. This was bigger than politics. "We're seeing something new," Dr. Chen explained during a galaxy-wide broadcast. "Humans are not just another species. There's something more." Hannah's body continued to change. She was stronger now. Her senses were sharper. She could heal faster. The pregnancy was transforming her in ways no one could have predicted. The research facility became a symbol of hope. Scientists from different species worked together. They shared information. They learned from each other. "Humans have always been different," one researcher said. "We just didn't know how different." The child growing inside Hannah represented more than just a pregnancy. It represented a bridge between species, a new way of understanding life itself. Political boundaries began to shift. Species that had been enemies for generations now talked to each other. They wanted to understand this discovery. Jay and Hannah became more than just parents. They became symbols of something new, of potential, of hope. "We're creating a future," Hannah told Jad one evening. "A future where species can understand each other." The moon watched silently. The research facility hummed with activity. And inside, something incredible was growing. The galaxy would never be the same again. The day arrived 6 months after their moon crash. The research facility fell silent. Every scientist, every researcher waited. Hannah's child was coming. The delivery room was unlike any medical space in galactic history. Scientists from 50 different species watched through advanced holographic screens. Dr. Emily Chen stood beside Jai, her hands ready to help. "This is more than a birth," she whispered. "This is a new chapter for all life." Hannah was different now. Her body had transformed completely. The pregnancy had changed her in ways no one could have predicted. She was stronger, faster. Her senses were beyond anything anyone had ever seen. The birth was quick, unexpectedly smooth. Where other pregnancies might have taken hours, this one took minutes. A cry filled the room. But it wasn't a normal cry. It was a sound that seemed to vibrate through the entire facility. The baby's first sound was like music, like a message from another world. The child was beautiful, perfect, with skin that seemed to glow softly, eyes that looked both human and luminen, genetic markers that showed something entirely new. "A girl," Dr. Chen announced. Her voice broke with emotion. Joe cut the umbilical cord. His hands were steady. His eyes were full of wonder. Hannah reached out and took her daughter. The baby looked up, and everyone in the room felt something change. Scientists ran initial tests. The results were impossible. The child's genetic structure was unlike anything they had ever seen. She had abilities that crossed species boundaries. She could heal faster, learn faster, adapt faster. "She is the future," Hannah said softly. News spread quickly, not just across the research facility, not just across their planet, but across the entire galaxy. The Luminan High Council watched the broadcast. Some were angry, some were excited, but all of them understood something big had happened. Joey and Hannah named their daughter Maya, a name that meant water in an old human language, a name that represented change, growth, potential. The research facility became more than just a medical center. It became a symbol of hope, of what could happen when different species worked together, when they understood each other. Political leaders from different star systems began to talk. They wanted to understand this discovery. They wanted to learn from it. Maya grew quickly, faster than any child had ever grown before. She learned languages in days. She understood complex ideas in hours. Her mind was like nothing anyone had ever seen. "We're creating a bridge," Jay told Hannah one evening. They watched Maya play. Her toys moved with her thoughts. Her laughter seemed to change the room around her. The moon where they had crashed remained their home. The research facility continued its work. Scientists from different species worked together, shared knowledge, learned from each other. Hannah looked different now. No longer just a supermodel, now a mother, a pioneer, someone who had changed everything. "You got me pregnant, human," she had said months ago. Now those words seemed like a promise of something new, something incredible. The galaxy watched, and everything was about to change.